For most people, MC Hammer is remembered as the guy in oversized parachute pants rapping, "You can't touch this." But the mockery didn't stop with the public. His peers joined in too. Even hip-hop legends took aim at him. Case in point, Tupac once called him out live on air, openly criticizing Hammer's place in the music industry.
I'm not getting on Hammer, and I'm not gonna say he did sell 10 million records, but crack fiends bought 10 million rocks. That don't mean crack is good. I'm down with him because he's a brother and he's making his mail. But, however, he's diluting rap.
In truth, Hammer had real gangster roots. Growing up in Oakland, he was surrounded by danger from the very start. When fame and fortune finally came his way, he didn't turn his back. He poured money back into his community, putting friends from the block on payroll, funding youth programs, and making sure people from the streets had opportunities. Whispers even linked him to criminal circles. Oakland rapper Too Short once summed it up in an interview. Hammer's a big boss. He's got a whole crew that knows how to handle problems.
He got respect in the streets. He came from a respected crew.
Rapper E40 also remembered Hammer as someone who could handle himself in a fight when the moment demanded it.
Hammer was bigger than all of us. You know, shout out to Uncle Hammer, man. I love that, man.
Hammer was the biggest in the game.
In that same conversation, Fat Joe shared a story about the first time he crossed paths with Hammer. And let's just say, it was nothing like what he had imagined.
You know, one time I bumped into Hammer. I only kicked it with him like one time. I bumped into him in the airport in Vegas. I seen him and he was like, "Yo, Joe, what's up, man?" He said, "Yo, sit down, let's talk. I'm waiting for the plane." And he was like, "Yo, you know I'm not, Hammer, I get it popping for real." I was like, "Yo, Hammer, why are you telling?" He said, "Nah, because I do the dance and all that. They don't think that." He said, "Yo, Joe, I let it go."
All right, let's get to the good part. Hammer's beef with LL Cool J. I've got a couple of stories that show how the industry quickly learned that going at MC Hammer was a bad move. His first big clash came in 1988, right as he was breaking into the spotlight with the release of his album Let's Get It Started. On the title track, he didn't hold back, declaring himself the best MC and even name-dropping some of the biggest heavyweights in the game. Naturally, LL Cool J saw it as a direct challenge. In 1990, on his track, To Da Break of Dawn, LL fired back hard, mocking Hammer's stage persona and taking special aim at those iconic baggy pants. To LL, Hammer was just a flashy outsider who didn't have a place in authentic hip-hop.
Stop dancing, get to walking, shut your old mouth when young folks is talking.
Hammer would sometimes take shots at LL during his shows, but it never turned into a full-on confrontation. Years later, LL Cool J claimed he never had an issue with Hammer, that it was Hammer who took offense to him. Now, you might be wondering, does that really make Hammer some kind of dangerous guy? Please, putting 50K on a rapper's head was just the warm-up. What followed was when things truly got serious, death threats included. One of Hammer's most infamous street-level run-ins was with New York group Third Base, and more specifically, its member MC Search. According to Search, it all began after a face-to-face meeting with Hammer, one where Hammer didn't exactly greet him with warmth or respect.
I just rolled up on him and I was like, "Yo, I heard, I said, yo, my name's Search. I heard you're a good dancer. Let's battle." That's, New York mentality. Figuring that translated anywhere. And he looks at me, he's like, "Fuck you," and he drives off. Fast forward, and Hammer disses Run DMC.
Later on, when Hammer came for Run DMC, that's when Third Base decided to clap back. Their diss wasn't just petty, it was flat-out disrespectful. In 1989, on their Cactus album, they delivered a ruthless bar. The Cactus turned Hammer's mother out. It was a sharp double entendre, taking a jab at both the album's name and Hammer's smash hit, Turn This Mother Out.
It's a household tool and a stank hole. The Cactus turned Hammer's mother out.
Naturally, that bar struck a nerve with Hammer, and his retaliation was swift. Serge later revealed that Hammer delivered the threats through his older brother, Louis Burrell, who also doubled as his manager. And let's be clear, Louis wasn't some clean-cut businessman. He had his own street hustle running back in Oakland. While Third Base were en route to Los Angeles, Def Jam president Carmen Ashurst received a chilling call on the plane's internal line. In that message, Louis didn't mince words. Third Base was as good as dead.
I can't prove that or not prove that, but that's what it came down to. Whoever was on the phone said, "Hey, is Third Base still coming to LA?" And she said yes, and the voice said, "Good, they're dead," and hung up the phone.
Later, Serge learned from trusted sources that Hammer had allegedly placed a $50,000 bounty on their heads, with Crips from Los Angeles lined up to handle it. Search brushed it off, thinking it was just talk. After all, who's really going to kill you over a couple of lines in a song, right? But this was no idle threat. If Russell Simmons, Def Jam's head honcho, hadn't stepped in and brought in protection from a street figure named Pookie, the outcome could have been far more dangerous.
I'm signing autographs, and as they get closer, the dude over here, he pulls the rag up. They start to spread the girls, and as they come up to me, Pookie whistles. Everything stops. He throws up some signs, whatever signs he throws up, and it's one dude right in front of me who's got his hand on his ratchet, pulls down his mask, and he goes, "Yo, man, I love that record, but I was finna smoke you right now, homie."
That's when Search finally understood. MC Hammer was dead serious. This wasn't your run-of-the-mill music industry beef. Hammer wasn't playing games.
I call Russell. I said, "Yo, this is real. This shit is real. This motherfucker put a hit out on us over some lyrics."
But the story didn't stop there. The very next day, the group hit up a local radio station, and Hammer seized the moment. He called in, spoke directly to the guys, and made sure they knew exactly how he felt about them dragging his mother into the mix.
You know, in this world we live today, everybody loves their mother, and for one reason or another, you don't play with people's mothers, and I believe that these fellas have made a mistake.
In truth, that jab didn't even come from Search. It was penned by his bandmate, Pete Nice. But when Hammer confronted them, Pete kept completely quiet, leaving Search to step up and answer Hammer head on.
I said, "Man, if you feel like we dissed your matriarchal, that's okay, but you know what you did. You know what's going on in these streets. Why don't you man up and see me face to face so we can figure this out? Stop being a bitch."
And just minutes later, another call came through, this time from someone claiming to be a rolling 60. He threatened to kill third base on the spot. Once again, the group found themselves scrambling for their lives. And once again, it was Pookie who came to the rescue, stepping in and halting an entire crew of Crips armed with automatic weapons.
We run out the fucking building. We get into the van. We start heading down the hill. There's two blue cars. And these dudes get out, Mac 11s, pointing at the fucking vehicle. Pookie jumps out, throws his signs up. They get back in, they leave.
Long story short, they finished their press tour in full survival mode, staying under the radar until they finally got out of California. And even now, more than 20 years later, MC Search remains shaken by it. He's admitted the ordeal hit him so hard that he ended up seeing a therapist 3 times a week.
I'm not good. I've gone through 25 years of therapy 3 days a week. I am not good. I wish I could be good. But when somebody tries to kill you over a rap lyric...
It's important to note that no solid evidence ever surfaced proving a real hit was ordered, and Hammer never once publicly admitted to it. Still, in hip-hop circles, the tale alone was enough to cement the legend of Hammer's toughness. The only thing Too Short questioned was whether Hammer even paid anyone at all. In his view, they would have done it for free purely out of loyalty.
Without spending any money, Hammer could have told some people him to fuck up. Like I know who Hammer was affiliated with, and he wouldn't have to pay to tell somebody to fuck somebody else.
In short, Hammer's street clout on the West Coast was so solid that people were willing to ride for him on principle alone. For Hammer, the entire ordeal became a loud warning to the industry. Don't push him. If anything, it only amplified his street credibility. But soon, history was set to repeat itself. Another rapper would find himself backing down after crossing the line. This time, it was Redman, who took shots at Hammer's parents in the Funky Uncles skit.
You ain't shit, you ain't shit. Mama ain't shit, dad ain't shit, ain't nobody.
When Redman rolled into Oakland, and just to be clear, that's Hammer's backyard, things went south fast. Hammer's crew tailed his car, tried to cut him off, and sent an unmistakable message that he wasn't wanted. The tension rattled Redman so hard, he had no choice but to leave the city.
Because they had niggas back here, back here, back here. We had to get the fuck out of here. They wasn't playing. We was almost boxed in. And I'm at a young age too. I'm like, yo, this is not playing.
A few years down the line, fate put them in the same room. In 1995, while filming the final episode of Yo MTV Raps, Hammer took the opportunity to settle things face to face.
MC Hammer was there. That approached me. He was like, Red, I'm gonna tell you something, you young, but I don't allow nobody talking about my mama. You understand me? I said, yes, sir.
Redman later confessed that Hammer had genuinely intimidated him and left him with a lesson he wouldn't forget.
that goddamn MC Hammer, very serious about beef. Y'all motherfuckers laugh and y'all joke about Hammer. No. That nigga was deep with us. And he used to what anybody who talks shit come to the Bay Area, they was in for it.
And how could we skip over his clash with Ice Cube? Even a gangster of Cube's caliber wasn't beyond Hammer's scope. Like many at the time, Cube took shots at Hammer's flashy persona. In 1991, he released True to the Game, calling out artists who sell out for mainstream appeal. But the music video went a step further, featuring a mocking abduction scene. A character clearly modeled after MC Hammer starts in street gear before switching into a loud red stage outfit. Cube then snatches him, stuffs him in a car trunk, and drives off to some unknown spot, as if kidnapping a sellout to prove a point. Filmed entirely in black and white, the scene's grim tone made the jab even sharper.
You was hardcore hip-hop. Now look at yourself, boy, you done flip-flop.
Hammer wasted no time firing back. He confronted Ice Cube directly. No calls, no middlemen, just man-to-man. The meeting went down at the iconic Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in Los Angeles. Hammer arrived unannounced, flanked by a few of his crew, and walked right up to Cube. Cool and collected, he demanded an explanation for the disrespect. The moment Cube realized Hammer wasn't playing, he backed off almost instantly.
Putting that gang up in here, put me in the truck and all that kind of crazy, man, our people don't want to see that. And then you disrespecting me and the music. Man, I'm an artist, man, I'm being creative. You know, well, Hammer, I'm sorry, man, I apologize, brother. I didn't know it was gonna be like that. You know, I apologize. And all he looking at all, he standing around him like, they finna whoop my ass, you know?
Not long after, Ice Cube publicly stepped back from the shots aimed at Hammer. In the source, he clarified that, true to the game, both the song and the video wasn't meant to target MC Hammer personally, but was a broader critique of rappers who had sold out. He even suggested dropping the whole thing, saying, "It's just a video, bro," and insisted he held no grudge. You'd think that would have closed the chapter. By the late 90s, Hammer's career had cooled, album sales declined, he went broke, stepped out of the spotlight, and even became a preacher. It seemed the drama was behind him, until 2010, when, out of nowhere, Hammer sparked a fresh beef, this time with none other than Jay-Z. It felt like Hammer's way of telling the industry, "Don't think I forgot how to clap back." Jay-Z, in one of his verses, casually poked at a sore spot, rapping, "And Hammer went broke, so you know I'm more focused," then followed it up with,
Lost 30 mil, so I spent another 30. Cause unlike Hammer, 30 million can't hurt me.
At 56 years old and already a preacher, Hammer still couldn't let it slide. It was like the old fire came roaring back, and he stepped straight into the fight. First came a tweet. "You wanted my attention, Hellboy? You got it." A not-so-subtle jab at Jay-Z's rumored ties to dark symbolism. Then, on Halloween, he unleashed a full-blown diss track titled Better Run Run. The video closed with Hammer dunking a Jay-Z lookalike into water, as if performing an exorcism to cast the devil out of him.
Better run, run. Better run. Let's go.
Many brushed off Hammer's move as nothing more than an attention grab, an old-school rapper chasing headlines. But Hammer broke it down plainly. He said my name, and where I come from, if someone says your name, you answer. I always answered anyone who came for me. Sometimes, the image on screen is far from the truth, and Hammer is the perfect example. The shiny pants and pop rap hits were just the surface. Behind it stood a street-certified figure who knew how to handle business. That's what makes him more than just a star. That's what cements him as a legend. And while we're here, check out our earlier Music Vibe video, uncovering how Hammer actually went broke. If you enjoyed this one, drop a like and subscribe. See you next time.